A silent city sleeps deep beneath the rocky spires of Cappadocia. This is not a natural cave system, but a vast, multi-level metropolis carved entirely by hand. Its true origins are lost to time, and its full purpose remains one of history's most captivating puzzles. By the end of this, you will understand the sheer scale of this underground world and the brilliant engineering that kept it alive. Who were the people who built this, and what were they hiding from so far below the earth? What does it feel like to stand in a place designed to be forgotten? What forgotten chapter of human history is still waiting to be uncovered? This landscape itself feels like a myth carved in stone. Across Cappadocia, thousands of strange rock pillars rise from the earth, some wearing dark, hat-like stones atop their slender forms. These are the fairy chimneys, the first clue to understanding what lies beneath. Their story begins millions of years ago with a series of colossal volcanic eruptions that blanketed the entire region in a deep, thick layer of ash. Over eons, this ash compressed into a soft, malleable rock known as tuff. Then, wind and water went to work, sculpting the softer tuff and leaving the harder capstones behind, creating these surreal, towering figures. But for ancient builders, this wasn't just a spectacle. It was an opportunity. The very softness that allowed nature to carve the chimneys made the rock below perfectly suited for human hands. Imagine trying to dig a city into granite or marble. The task would be nearly impossible with ancient tools, but the tuff was different. It was firm enough to hold its shape, creating stable, long-lasting chambers, yet soft enough to be carved with simple picks and chisels. This unique geology was the ultimate building material, a blank canvas of stone waiting for its architects. The ground itself was an invitation to go downward, to turn the earth inside out and create a hidden world. Every tunnel, every room, every step you take in the depths exists only because of that ancient volcanic gift. So the mystery of the underground cities is not just about who built them, but where they chose to build. The landscape provided the perfect hiding place, not by accident, but by its very composition. What kind of mind looks at a fairy chimney and sees not just a wonder of nature, but the foundation for an entire civilization turned inward? A man was simply renovating his home in 1963, knocking down a wall to create more space for his family. But when the stones gave way, they did not reveal another room. They revealed a void, a dark, cool draft rising from a passage that plunged deep into the earth. This was not a small cellar or a forgotten storage pit. It was the beginning of a labyrinth. The homeowner in the town of Derinkuyu had just found the lost entrance to a city that had slept for centuries. Word of the discovery spread quickly, drawing the attention of archaeologists and historians. They arrived with ropes and lanterns, descending into the unknown. Their initial surveys must have been filled with a growing sense of disbelief. This was far more than a single cave or a cluster of hiding places. They found themselves in a sprawling, multi-level metropolis, a complex web of tunnels, staircases, and chambers carved with stunning precision. Every corner they turned revealed another marvel of engineering. They discovered ventilation shafts that reached up to the surface for fresh air, deep wells for a constant water supply, and massive, circular stone doors that could be rolled into place to seal off entire sections from the inside. The sheer scale was staggering. They had not just found a historical site, they had uncovered an entirely new chapter of human ingenuity, a city designed to be invisible from the world above. How many people could this hidden world have held, and how did it remain a secret for so long? The answer was waiting even deeper in the stone. The discovery at Derinkuyu was just the beginning. As archaeologists widened their search across Cappadocia, they realized they were not looking at one city, but at an entire underground network. Derinkuyu and its neighbor Kaymakli are the most famous, the grand capitals of this subterranean world, but they are far from alone. Dozens of other underground settlements dot the region, each a self-contained fortress buried deep in the rock. Current estimates suggest there could be more than 200 distinct underground sites, a staggering number that rewrites our understanding of this ancient landscape. The true scale becomes almost unimaginable when you consider how they might have been linked. Local legends and some physical evidence hint at the existence of miles-long tunnels connecting these cities, forming a vast secret highway beneath the earth. Picture a scenario where if one city was under threat, its entire population could theoretically evacuate through these hidden corridors to the safety of another, miles away. This was not just a collection of shelters, it was a coordinated regional defense system of breathtaking ambition. When you add up the potential capacity of all these spaces, the numbers are mind-boggling. Derinkuyu alone could have sheltered an estimated 20,000 people along with their livestock and food stores. Now multiply that across dozens of major complexes and hundreds of smaller ones. We are talking about a total population capacity that could easily reach into the hundreds of thousands. This forces us to ask a profound question. What kind of threat could compel such a massive and coordinated effort to disappear from the surface? The very existence of this network suggests a society that lived with a constant shadow of danger, a people who chose to carve their safety from the living rock itself. Of all these hidden worlds, Derinkuyu stands as the undisputed capital. It is a vertical labyrinth plunging an estimated 18 stories deep into the earth. That is the equivalent of a modern skyscraper built entirely in reverse, a towering structure of human ingenuity hidden completely from sight. To walk its passages is to journey through a city designed for every aspect of life and death underground. Fresh air was never a concern thanks to an ingenious network of ventilation shafts. These were not simple holes, they were masterfully engineered channels, some stretching over 100 meters from the deepest chambers all the way to the surface, ensuring a constant, invisible circulation of breathable air throughout the entire metropolis. Deep, protected wells tapped into the underground water table, providing a reliable supply that made the city resilient to long sieges. And this was not just a barren shelter. The city was alive with purpose. There were sprawling stables for livestock, their stone mangers still visible today. There were churches with vaulted ceilings and carved crosses, places for spiritual solace in the profound darkness. There were communal kitchens, smoke blackened from countless fires, and even wineries with fermentation vats and presses, proof that life here was not merely about survival. It was about community, about preserving a way of life far from the sun. The sheer number of rooms is staggering, with estimates suggesting space for 20,000 people. This was not a temporary refuge, it was a fully self-sufficient world, a complete society that could function for months, perhaps even years, completely isolated from the world above. What kind of society possessed the knowledge and the will to create such a perfect, hidden home? Just a short distance from the grand scale of Derinkuyu lies its labyrinthine neighbor, Kaymakli. While it does not plunge to the same incredible depths, Kaymakli sprawls outward in a complex horizontal maze that presents a different kind of wonder. Entering Kaymakli feels less like descending a tower and more like being absorbed into a vast stone honeycomb. Its design is intentionally disorienting, a masterclass in defensive architecture. The tunnels here are famously low and narrow, forcing any visitor to crouch or even crawl. For a resident familiar with the passages, this was a minor inconvenience. But for a potential invader, a soldier burdened with armor and weapons, it would be a slow, claustrophobic, and terrifying nightmare. Every turn could lead to a dead end or an ambush, giving the defenders an overwhelming advantage. The most iconic features of these cities, the massive circular stone doors, are found here in all their imposing glory. Carved from solid rock, these wheels stand as tall as a person and weigh hundreds of kilograms. They were designed to roll smoothly into place from the inside, blocking key passageways with an immovable finality. When one of these doors was sealed, it didn't just close an opening. It severed a connection, turning a section of the city into an impregnable fortress. Imagine the sound of such a stone grinding into its slot, a deep, final thud echoing through the tunnels, signaling that the world above was now completely shut out. While Derinkuyu impresses with its vertical ambition, Kaymakli captivates with its intricate, bewildering plan. It was a place where getting lost was not a design flaw, but the very point of its existence. This raises a fascinating question. Why would a society need two such different, yet neighboring, subterranean strongholds? Did they serve separate communities, or was their contrasting design a deliberate part of a larger, regional survival strategy? These great stone doors are more than just barriers. They are masterpieces of defensive engineering, each one a single, enormous wheel carved from the living rock of the mountain itself. The process of creating one was a monumental task. Artisans would have first identified a solid, flawless section of tunnel wall. Then, with painstaking care, they would have carved out the circular shape, leaving a massive stone disc attached at the top and bottom by two sturdy pivot points. The final, dramatic step was to cut it free, creating a door that could roll smoothly along a carved stone track, guided by a central pivot. The sheer physics of it is astonishing. Each door weighs as much as a small car, yet a single person pushing from the inside could set it in motion with a firm, steady pressure. The sound it made was the sound of ultimate security. A deep, grinding rumble would echo through the tunnels as the stone slid perfectly into its slot, sealing the corridor with the finality of a bank vault. But the design was not merely about brute force. Look closely at the center of one of these stone wheels, and you will find a small, carefully carved hole no wider than a fist. This was not a flaw or a weakness, it was a lethal feature. From the safety of the sealed side, a defender could thrust a spear through this hole, targeting any enemy trying to force their way in. It transformed a passive barrier into an active killing ground. The door was not just a shield, it was a weapon. This combination of immovable defense and clever offense reveals a mindset that thought of everything. Every element of the city, down to the very doors that blocked its halls, was built with one overarching purpose: survival at any cost in a world that had turned against them. Ventilation was the city's silent, steady heartbeat. Without it, a population of thousands would have suffocated within hours in those deep, sealed chambers. The solution was an engineering marvel, a network of vertical shafts that pierced through all 18 levels of the city like stone arteries. Dozens of these precise channels were carved straight down from the surface, some reaching depths of over 100 meters. They were not random holes. Their placement was a calculated science designed to exploit the natural principles of airflow. The temperature difference between the cool underground chambers and the warmer surface air created a constant, gentle convection current. Stale, warm air would rise and escape through the shafts, while fresh, cool air was drawn down into the deepest living quarters. This passive system required no energy, no maintenance. It simply worked day and night, ensuring the very air itself remained a renewable resource. But the ingenuity did not stop with breathing. Many of these same shafts served a second, equally vital purpose. They were extended even further down, piercing through the rock to tap directly into the pure, cold water of the underground aquifers. These were the city's wells, protected deep within the fortress and completely inaccessible to any enemy on the surface. A single shaft could therefore deliver both life and breath. From the top, it pulled in fresh air. From its base, it drew up fresh water. This dual function represents a stunning efficiency of design. Every element in the city had to serve multiple roles to ensure long-term survival. Think of the profound sense of security this must have provided. While an army camped on the surface above, hoping to starve them out, the people below enjoyed a constant breeze and an endless supply of drinking water. The siege could last for months, and the city would endure, its lungs and its veins connected directly to the earth itself. How many other ancient secrets are hidden in such simple, elegant solutions to the most fundamental human needs? The same ventilation shafts that brought fresh air also created a perfect natural climate control system. Deep within the city, the temperature remained a constant, cool 55 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. This was not just a matter of comfort, it was the key to long-term survival. Food supplies, grains and dried legumes stored in massive ceramic jars would last for years in this stable, cool environment, safe from the rot and pests that plagued surface storerooms. But this underground world was one of perpetual twilight. The only light against the overwhelming blackness came from the gentle, flickering glow of simple oil lamps. Carved into the walls of nearly every room are small, shallow niches, their surfaces still blackened by the soot of ancient flames. These lamps, fueled by precious olive oil, would have been lit at all times, casting dancing shadows across the curved stone ceilings. Imagine the careful economy of light. A family might share a single lamp, its wick kept low to conserve fuel, their lives defined by a small, warm pool of illumination in an ocean of darkness. This created a world of profound sensory deprivation. There was no sunrise or sunset, no changing weather, no view of the stars. The only markers of time were the routines of communal life and the slow burning of the lamps. The psychological toll of such an existence must have been immense. How does a human mind cope with the absence of the sky? The social structure would have been everything. In these confined, echoing spaces, cooperation was not a virtue. It was a matter of life and death. Strict rules and clearly defined roles would have governed every aspect of life, from water rationing to the maintenance of the air shafts. Elders and community leaders would have held immense authority, their wisdom essential for resolving conflicts and maintaining order in the pressurized environment. People lived, worked, and worshipped in extremely close quarters, their lives intertwined in a way we can scarcely comprehend. The soundscape would have been a constant low hum of voices, the shuffling of feet, the bleating of sheltered animals, and the ever-present drip of water, all amplified by the stone walls. This was a society built on mutual dependence, where every person's actions directly impacted the survival of the whole. To choose this life, to raise children in the silent, lamplit dark, the threat waiting above must have been far, far worse than the profound sacrifice of living without the sun. The profound darkness of the city was broken by more than just the light of oil lamps. In the deepest, most secure levels, the inhabitants carved out spaces for their souls. Scattered throughout the subterranean maze are churches and chapels, their vaulted ceilings and simple altars standing as silent testimony to a faith that flourished in the depths. These were not merely functional rooms, they were sacred spaces meticulously designed to mimic the architecture of surface world basilicas, complete with carved columns, rounded arches, and apses. Walking into one of these chambers, you would immediately recognize it as a place of worship, a deliberate echo of a world left behind. For communities of early Christians fleeing relentless persecution, these underground sanctuaries were not just convenient. They were essential. Here, hidden from Roman soldiers or later invaders, they could practice their forbidden rites in relative safety. The very rock that protected their bodies also became a vessel for their spirits. Some of these churches are adorned with faded frescoes, their pigments directly applied to the smooth stone walls. Simple crosses, depictions of Christ, and scenes from the Bible would have glimmered in the lamplight, providing visual sermons and a focal point for prayer. Imagine the intensity of a service held in such a place. The air thick with the scent of oil and damp stone, the whispered prayers of the congregation echoing off the walls, the shared sense of peril and devotion binding everyone together. This was a faith forged under pressure, a belief so powerful it demanded expression even in a world devoid of sunlight. The existence of these monasteries and churches answers a fundamental question about life underground. It was not merely an existence, it was a society with a rich spiritual core, determined to preserve not just their lives, but their very identity and their connection to the divine, no matter how far they had to descend to protect it. The identity of the city's first architects remains one of its deepest secrets, but one compelling theory points to a Bronze Age empire. Long before early Christians sought refuge, the mighty Hittite civilization dominated this region. These were a people of immense power and sophistication, masters of iron and empire builders whose influence stretched across the ancient world. Archaeological digs in the wider Cappadocia region have uncovered Hittite artifacts, from distinctive pottery to clay tablets inscribed with their language. These finds place them firmly in this landscape over 3,000 years ago. It is not a great leap to suggest that these first settlers, recognizing the soft, workable tuff, began the initial excavations. They would not have been building a city to hide an entire population, at least not at first. Their needs were likely more practical. A Hittite outpost might have carved out simple storage chambers to protect grain from the scorching summer heat and the freezing winter cold. They could have created secure underground spaces to safeguard valuable goods or to serve as temporary shelters during raids from rival kingdoms. These would have been the humble beginnings, the first few rooms in what would become a metropolis. Later civilizations, facing their own existential threats, would have discovered these pre-carved spaces. They would have looked at the Hittite foundations and seen not a forgotten cellar, but the blueprint for salvation. The existing chambers provided a head start, a gift from the past that made the monumental task of building a hidden city seem just barely possible. Each successive group, from the Phrygians to the early Christians, then expanded the labyrinth, adding new levels, new defenses, and new sanctuaries, building upon the work of those who came before. This means the underground cities are not the product of a single moment in time, but a cumulative masterpiece, a geological manuscript written and rewritten by different hands across millennia. So the stone doors and ventilation shafts we marvel at today may stand on the shoulders of a forgotten Hittite stonemason, whose simple storage pit became the seed of an impossible world. The story of early Christians seeking shelter in these stone depths is not just a theory, it is a powerful narrative etched into the very identity of Cappadocia. For centuries, the accepted history has been one of flight and faith, of devout communities vanishing underground to escape the brutal persecutions of the Roman Empire. This was an era when practicing Christianity was a capital offense, and followers of the new religion faced imprisonment, torture, and public execution. The appeal of this narrative is undeniable. It provides a clear and emotionally resonant reason for the city's existence. The timeline fits remarkably well. The first major expansions of the underground complexes coincide with the periods of most intense Roman persecution, particularly in the 3rd and 4th centuries after Christ. The architectural features we have already explored align perfectly with the needs of a people in hiding. The massive, rolling stone doors were not just for defense against armies, but for secrecy against patrols. The hidden ventilation shafts and water wells provided the means to disappear completely, to wait out the storm of imperial wrath in total silence. This was a refuge built for a specific, terrifying kind of emergency. Furthermore, the landscape above ground supports this idea. Cappadocia is dotted with rock-cut churches and monasteries from this same period, many adorned with beautiful, if faded, frescoes. It seems a logical progression that when danger became too great on the surface, the natural next step was to retreat even deeper, carrying their faith with them into the protective embrace of the earth. The cities became more than just shelters, they became subterranean dioceses, where bishops could lead their flocks and the rituals of the church could continue, unseen by the world. This version of events gives a noble, heroic purpose to the endless tunnels and chambers. It transforms them from mere holes in the ground into sanctuaries, the last and most desperate line of defense for a faith fighting for its survival. But is this the whole story, or has the passage of time simplified a much more complex and ancient truth? This layered history transforms the stone itself into a kind of parchment. Each civilization that sought refuge here left its own distinct mark, carving new chapters directly over the old ones. Before the Christians, before the Romans, this region was a crossroads of empires, and the first to expand the underground refuges may have been the Phrygians. Masters of rock-cut architecture, they are famous for monumental facades carved into cliffs. It is easy to imagine them looking at the soft tuff of Cappadocia and seeing more than just tombs or temples. They could have begun the first true expansions, turning simple Hittite storage pits into more complex multi-room habitats. They were the first major renovators, adding a new layer to the subterranean blueprint. Then came the vast Persian Empire under rulers like Darius the Great. Their administration required secure communication routes and fortified strongholds across their sprawling territory. An existing network of underground chambers would have been an invaluable asset. The Persians were brilliant pragmatists, and they would have recognized the strategic potential of these hidden spaces. They likely fortified them further, ensuring these sites could serve as secure way stations for their armies or as secret treasuries, adding another level of purpose to the deepening maze. But the most extensive phase of construction likely occurred centuries later under the Byzantine Empire. For the Byzantines, the eastern frontiers of their empire, including Cappadocia, were under constant and violent threat from Arab armies. These were not mere raids, but full-scale invasions aimed at conquering the Christian heartland. In this desperate context, the underground cities became a cornerstone of regional survival. The Byzantines did not just occupy the old shelters, they engineered them on an unprecedented scale. They are almost certainly responsible for the deepest levels, the most sophisticated ventilation shafts, and the vast communal spaces we see today. They turned a collection of refuges into a true subterranean civilization, a place where entire populations could vanish for months at a time. The cities became a last line of defense, a way to let the invading armies sweep across the barren surface while life and culture persisted untouched in the cool, dark world below. This means a single wall in Derinkuyu, you might tell three stories: the rough texture of a Phrygian chamber, the strategic reinforcement of a Persian corridor, and the final, polished finish of a Byzantine chapel all exist in the same stone. The city is not one story, but many, a perfect historical palimpsest written not in ink, but in excavated space. Perhaps the greatest threat was not an army, but the sky itself. The Cappadocian Plateau is a land of climatic extremes, where summer sun can scorch the earth and winter winds can freeze it solid in a single night. Long before these spaces became refuges from human enemies, their initial, most fundamental purpose may have been shelter from this brutal environment. The stable, cool temperature deep underground was not just a fortunate side effect, it was a life-saving feature. Imagine the surface world for an early settler. In July, the heat could be relentless, withering crops and making the stone of surface dwellings unbearable to touch. Come January, that same stone would leach away all warmth, leaving families to shiver through long, dark nights. Survival was a constant battle against the elements, but just a few meters below, the earth offered a perfect natural insulation. The underground chambers maintained a constant temperature around 55 degrees Fahrenheit, a gentle coolness in the summer and a life-saving warmth in the winter. This was not merely comfortable, it was transformative. It meant that precious stores of grain and dried food, the difference between life and starvation during the lean months, could be preserved for years instead of rotting or being devoured by pests. A family's entire wealth and security could be safeguarded in the steady, predictable climate of a hand-carved cellar. This practical beginning reshapes our understanding of the city's origins. The first person to carve a room beneath their home was not necessarily planning for a siege. They were simply solving a problem, creating a secure, temperate space for storage and for living during the worst of the summer heat or the winter cold. What started as a single cellar for one family could, over generations, be expanded into a cluster of connected rooms for an entire clan. The initial impulse was one of simple, brilliant adaptation. The massive stone doors that later sealed out armies may have first been used to keep out dust storms or blizzards. The ventilation shafts that provided air for thousands may have begun as simple chimneys for a single underground dwelling's cooking fire. This suggests a profound evolution in purpose. The very features that make the cities seem like fortresses could have their roots in the daily struggle for comfort and survival. The genius of the underground cities may not lie in a single grand plan for defense, but in the slow, cumulative wisdom of generations who learned that the safest place to live was not on the earth but within it. So we are left not with one single answer, but with a spectrum of purpose, each layer of history adding its own reason for existence. The underground cities were not built for one thing, but for everything a society might need to endure. The theory of the sanctuary is the most dramatic. The massive defensive doors, the labyrinthine tunnels, and the hidden chapels all point to a people in hiding, sealing themselves away from existential threats. This was a fortress for the entire community, a place to wait out storms of violence from Roman legions or Arab armies. Yet the evidence for a permanent settlement is equally compelling. The wineries, the stables, the countless rooms for families, and the intricate social structures required for long-term living suggest this was more than a temporary bolt hole. It was a home, a place where daily life, with all its mundane and sacred routines, stubbornly persisted. Then there is the practical theory of the vast storage facility. The constant, cool temperature of the rock made it a perfect natural refrigerator, an ideal place to safeguard the region's most vital resource, its food supply. Grain, oil, and wine stored here would not spoil, insulating the population from famine and forming an economic backbone for the entire area. And we cannot ignore the spiritual dimension. The presence of dedicated churches and monasteries deep within the rock tells us this was also a sacred landscape, a place for ritual and connection to the divine, separate from the secular world above. The true genius of these cities lies in their adaptability. A single chamber could have been a family's home during a peaceful winter, a secure granary during a lean harvest, a place of worship on a holy day, and a sealed refuge during a raid. The purpose shifted with the need of the moment. They were not built for one single chapter of history, but for all the unwritten chapters yet to come. This transforms them from a simple mystery into a profound lesson in human resilience. They represent the ultimate contingency plan, a multi-layered answer to the fundamental question of how a civilization preserves itself against any threat, whether it comes from the edge of a sword or the changing of the seasons. Feeding 20,000 people in total isolation required a system of meticulous, almost obsessive planning. The deep storerooms of the city were its true treasure vaults, lined with colossal ceramic jars, some taller than a person, each one sealed to preserve its precious contents. These were not mere containers, they were the city's larder, filled with grains like wheat and barley, along with lentils, beans, and dried fruits. The cool, constant temperature of the underground world acted as a perfect natural preservative, preventing mold and spoilage for years on end. But sustenance went beyond dry goods. The maze included designated areas for small livestock. Chickens provided a steady supply of eggs, and goats could be kept for milk, a vital source of nutrition, especially for children. These animals were a living, breathing part of the city's food supply, their care woven into the daily rhythm of subterranean life. Every scrap of organic waste, from food leavings to animal manure, would have been meticulously collected. In a world cut off from the surface, nothing could be wasted. This refuse was likely composted in deep, isolated pits, eventually to be used to fertilize the hidden surface gardens that would be tended during brief, safe periods of daylight. The entire food cycle was a closed loop, a self-contained ecosystem designed for absolute efficiency. Fresh water flowed from the same deep wells that tapped the aquifer, the very same shafts that brought the city air. This water was the lifeblood of the community, carefully rationed and distributed. But what of the water after it was used and the other unavoidable byproducts of human life? This leads to the most critical and least glamorous challenge of all. How do you manage the waste of thousands of people in a sealed, multi-level stone environment? The answer was an underground sanitation system as ingenious as the ventilation. Deep within the lowest levels, far from the living quarters, they carved out special sealed chambers and narrow, sloping channels designed to carry waste away. Some historians believe they used flowing water from the wells to flush these channels, directing the effluent into deep, inaccessible pits where it could slowly decompose or be filtered by the rock itself. This was not a modern sewer, but it was a deliberate, calculated solution to a problem that could have poisoned their entire world. Without such a system, disease would have spread rapidly in the crowded, dark conditions, making the refuge a death trap. The fact that people could live here for months, even years, is a testament not just to their engineering, but to their understanding of public health. They had to master the entire cycle of life, from the air they breathed and the food they ate to the waste they produced. Every single function of a surface city had to be reimagined, reinvented, and perfected deep within the earth. What does it say about a society that planned not just for defense, but for sanitation with the same level of solemn dedication? Even with all we have uncovered, the known cities represent only the surface of a much deeper secret. Ground-penetrating radar has recently scanned the Earth beneath Cappadocia, and the results are both thrilling and humbling. These scans reveal a vast, hidden geography of voids and passages that branch out far beyond the mapped sections of Derinkuyu and Kaymakli. It appears the explored cities are merely the entrance halls to a subterranean world of unimaginable scale, a network that might stretch for hundreds of miles beneath the entire region. The radar cannot tell us what is in these spaces, only that they are there, silent and waiting. This means the current estimate of 200 underground sites could be a drastic undercount. Every new scan hints at more chambers, more tunnels, more entire levels completely sealed off from human access for centuries. Some of these passages are thought to descend to depths that make the 18 stories of Derinkuyu seem shallow, plunging into a darkness so profound and pressurized that modern explorers cannot yet reach them. What could possibly necessitate such incomprehensible depths? Were they refuges within refuges, designed for a threat so severe that even the main cities were not safe enough? Or do they hold something else entirely, perhaps the true, original purpose for this inverted world lost to time? The sheer scale of the unexplored ignites the imagination. Could there be vast, undiscovered libraries, their contents preserved in the dry, cool air, or grand halls that served a function we have not yet dreamed of? The stone keeps its final secrets closely guarded, reminding us that the greatest mysteries of Cappadocia are not the ones we can walk through, but the ones that remain forever just beyond our reach. Deep within the sealed silence of the city, another layer of mystery reveals itself through sound. In certain carefully carved chambers, the very air seems to play tricks on the ear. A whisper spoken softly against one wall can be heard with perfect, unsettling clarity on the far side of the room, as if the speaker were standing right beside you. Other spaces possess a strange, resonant quality, where a single note hummed at just the right pitch will bloom and fill the entire room, vibrating through the stone itself. This is not a random quirk of geology. The acoustic properties in these specific rooms are too precise, too consistent to be an accident. It suggests the builders possessed a sophisticated understanding of sound waves and how they interact with carved stone. Imagine the practical advantage this would provide in a world of perpetual twilight and confined spaces. A sentry stationed at a narrow entrance tunnel could whisper a warning that would travel hundreds of feet through a dedicated chamber to the guards deep inside, all without raising an alarm. Vital information could be passed through the city with impossible speed and secrecy, a hidden network of sound operating in parallel to the tunnels of stone. But the purpose may have been more than just tactical. Think of those resonant chambers, spaces that transform a simple human voice into something profound and powerful. These could have been the original sanctuaries, the first churches where the spoken word of a spiritual leader, amplified by the very architecture, would wash over the congregation with an awe-inspiring presence. In a place devoid of light, the most powerful sense left was hearing. A sermon delivered in such a room would not just be heard, it would be felt in the bones, a physical manifestation of faith in the darkness. Were these acoustic wonders a deliberate tool for survival, or were they designed to elevate the human spirit, to create moments of transcendent beauty in a world built for endurance? The stone not only remembers the footsteps of those who lived here, but perhaps it also remembers their voices, their prayers, and their warnings, all trapped in the perfect geometry of a whisper. The silent passage connecting Derinkuyu to Kaymakli is more than a legend. It is a 5-mile-long question mark carved into the earth. Local folklore has spoken of this subterranean highway for generations, a hidden corridor that would have allowed the entire population of one city to flee to the other without ever seeing the sun. The evidence for its existence is both physical and logical. Geologists and archaeologists point to the consistent composition of the rock between the two cities, a continuous band of the same soft, tough ideal for tunneling. More compellingly, ground-penetrating radar scans have detected long, linear anomalies deep below the surface, voids that trace a path directly from the depths of Derinkuyu toward the sprawling maze of Kaymakli. These are not random caves, but what appear to be engineered tunnels perfectly aligned and of a consistent diameter. So why has this legendary passage not been fully unearthed and walked from end to end? The answer lies in the sheer danger and complexity of the task. Over the centuries, earthquakes have collapsed entire sections of these deep tunnels, filling them with unstable rubble. Excavating them would be a monumental undertaking, requiring immense resources to shore up the ceilings and clear thousands of tons of debris, all while ensuring the structural integrity of the entire network above. It is a calculated risk that archaeologists have so far been unwilling to take. The existence of such a tunnel would fundamentally change our understanding of this underground world. It would prove that these were not just independent shelters, but nodes in a single, integrated defense system of staggering ambition. The coordination required to plan and execute a 5-mile tunnel, maintaining a consistent grade for drainage and ensuring a steady air supply, speaks of a central authority, a master plan directed by brilliant engineers. This was not a haphazard effort by scattered communities. It was a coordinated, society-wide project, a testament to a civilization that saw its future not in conquering the horizon, but in mastering the world beneath its feet. What other connections remain hidden, waiting to reveal a map of a lost subterranean nation? This impulse to carve a world from the stone was not confined to Cappadocia. The same deep-seated drive to go underground echoes across the globe, in places separated by vast oceans and wildly different cultures. Take the hypogeum of Hal Saflieni on the Mediterranean island of Malta, a labyrinthine temple complex carved entirely underground more than 5,000 years ago. This was not a city for the living in the same way, but a monumental, subterranean sanctuary for the dead, a place of intricate chambers and altars where rituals were performed in a profound, eternal silence. Its construction required the removal of an estimated 2,000 tons of rock using nothing but stone tools, a feat of devotion that rivals the scale of Cappadocia. Then look to the other side of the world, to the ancient Chinese province of Henan. Here, entire villages created vast underground courtyard homes known as yaodongs that sheltered generations. These were not just simple caves, but sophisticated multi-level dwellings with carved-out rooms surrounding a central sunken courtyard, complete with ventilation shafts and drainage systems. The similarities are too striking to ignore. From Malta's sacred tombs to China's family homes and Cappadocia's fortified cities, we see the same brilliant solutions to different problems. They all used the Earth's natural insulation for a perfect climate. They all engineered air and water sources, and they all chose to turn inward for safety. Yet the differences are just as telling. Malta's hypogee were spiritual centers focused on the afterlife. China's Yeodongs were practical, permanent homes for daily life. Cappadocia's cities were engineered for mass emergency survival. So was this a unique occurrence in each place, or does it point to something more profound? A kind of universal human blueprint that emerges whenever a society feels threatened, spiritually called, or simply pragmatic. The distance between them suggests no single architect, no shared plan. Instead, it reveals a shared instinct. When faced with the extremes of climate, the fear of invasion, or the pull of the sacred, humanity's oldest and most reliable answer has always been the same. To dig, to hide, and to build a new kind of home in the quiet, patient dark. What other lost worlds are waiting beneath our feet, each one a different verse of the same ancient song? But the most captivating mysteries are the ones that defy simple explanation. Among the countless artifacts unearthed in the region, a few stand out as profound anomalies. Small, crudely shaped stone objects have been found in some of the oldest layers, objects that some researchers controversially identify as models of flying machines or complex, unrecognizable technology. Mainstream archaeology dismisses them as stylized animals or abstract religious idols, which is the most likely explanation. Yet for those who look for a different story, these strange forms ignite a powerful question. Could they be forgotten blueprints, a collective memory of something that should not have existed in that era? Even more puzzling are certain architectural features scattered in the deepest, least accessible chambers. There are walls polished to a mirror-like sheen, a finish with no apparent practical purpose that would have required immense, painstaking labor. In other places, you find precise, circular boreholes drilled into the hardest rock, holes that seem too perfect, too smooth to have been made with the simple bronze or iron tools attributed to the known builders. The official explanation is that these are the results of later modifications or natural geological processes. But the presence of these oddities in the most ancient sections fuels speculation about a much older, perhaps even lost, civilization that first mastered this stone. Could the Hittites and early Christians have merely been the last residents of a world built by someone else, by a people whose name and history have been completely erased? These are not questions with easy answers, but they are essential for keeping the wonder alive. They remind us that history is not a closed book, but a story still being written, where a single, unexplained artifact can challenge everything we think we know about the past. From high above in the quiet sky, the true scale of this hidden world reveals itself in reverse. Drifting silently in a hot air balloon at dawn, you look down upon a landscape that seems from another planet. The first light of the sun washes over thousands of the strange, towering fairy chimneys, casting long, dark shadows that stretch and shift across the valleys. The ground is a tapestry of soft gold and pale cream, a rolling terrain of rock that looks almost soft to the touch. It is a scene of breathtaking, almost surreal beauty. But from this vantage point, you are not just a spectator of the surface. You are floating directly over the roof of a forgotten kingdom. Every step you might take on that beautiful, alien ground is supported not by solid earth, but by a hollowed-out honeycomb of ancient cities. That gentle hill below your basket might conceal 3 entire levels of living quarters. That flat, open plain could be the ceiling of a cathedral-sized church. The visual contrast is staggering. You see the serene, silent beauty of the present, while knowing with absolute certainty that just meters below your feet exists the cool, dark, and echoing reality of the past. This is the ultimate secret of Cappadocia. Its greatest wonders are not the fantastical rock pillars you can see, but the immense, organized emptiness you cannot. The landscape itself becomes a living map, with every fissure and valley hinting at the architectural marvels buried beneath. What must it have been like for the people who lived down there to finally emerge after months in the lamplit dark and see this very same sky, not from a leisurely balloon, but as a symbol of their hard-won freedom? The view from above does not distance you from the mystery. It pulls you closer, framing the entire region as a single, immense archaeological site where the real story is forever hidden just out of sight. The cool, echoing silence of the underground cities is now broken by a new sound, the steady murmur of countless visitors. Millions of footsteps now tread the ancient passages each year, a river of humanity flowing through a world built for secrecy and isolation. This immense popularity presents a profound and modern dilemma. How do you preserve a city carved from the softest stone, a material more fragile than concrete, from the slow, inevitable damage of so much admiration? The very breath of crowds raises the humidity in sealed chambers, and the constant touch of hands on walls wears away carvings that have survived for centuries. Every visitor, however careful, leaves an invisible mark. Conservationists face a relentless battle against this gentle erosion. They have installed carefully calibrated lighting systems that minimize heat and radiation, and built discreet walkways to protect the original stone floors from further wear. In some of the most fragile chapels, access is severely restricted, with visitors viewing the space from a distant platform. These measures are essential, but they also transform the experience. The city that was once a place of raw, immediate connection to the past becomes a museum exhibit, viewed from behind an invisible barrier. This raises a difficult ethical question. Does a historical site belong to the global public, who fund its preservation through their visits, or does its primary duty lie with the future, requiring its protection even if that means limiting access? There are no easy answers. The stone itself is the final arbiter, slowly but surely wearing away under the weight of our curiosity. To walk these tunnels today is to participate in this delicate balance, to be part of the very force that threatens the mystery you have come to witness. Will our grandchildren be able to stand in the same lamplit silence, or will they only know these cities through recordings and photographs? A world that finally vanished under the gentle pressure of our own footsteps. Perhaps the greatest mystery of these cities is not how they were built, but why they hold such a powerful grip on our imagination today. They speak to something fundamental within us, a deep-seated fascination with the unknown and a primal instinct for survival. We look at these dark, winding tunnels, and we are not just seeing ancient history. We are confronting our own fears and our own capacity for resilience. The idea of a hidden world, a secret sanctuary carved from the very earth, taps into a universal human curiosity. What child has not dreamed of a secret fort, a place entirely their own, safe from the demands of the outside world? These cities are that childhood fantasy realized on an epic, almost mythical scale. They represent the ultimate safe room, a place where an entire culture could wait out the storm, whatever that storm may be. This resonates because the threats may change, but the fear does not. The anxieties that drove people underground, persecution, war, existential danger, are, tragically, never far from the human experience. In these stone passages, we see a reflection of our own desire for security in an uncertain world. But the allure is not born from fear alone. It is equally fueled by a profound admiration for human ingenuity. We stand in awe of the anonymous engineers who solved problems of air, water, and waste with nothing but simple tools and brilliant minds. They did not just hide. They built a civilization in the dark with churches and wineries and social structures. proving that the human spirit can create light even where the sun does not shine. This combination is irresistible. It is the chilling thrill of the unknown paired with the inspiring warmth of human tenacity. The fact that we still do not have one single definitive answer for their primary purpose is not a failure of archaeology. It is the source of their enduring power. A clear, simple explanation would satisfy our curiosity, but it would also close the door on wonder. The ambiguity is what keeps the story alive, allowing each of us to find our own meaning in the silent, cool dark. We are left not with an answer, but with a question that echoes through the stone. What would we be willing to build, and what part of ourselves would we choose to preserve if we had to disappear from the world? So we stand at the end of this labyrinth, surrounded by the echoes of countless lives, and we are left with the same fundamental questions we started with. The true identity of the first builders remains a ghost in the stone, their names erased by time. The city's ultimate purpose shifts like a mirage, one moment a fortress against armies, the next a permanent home, a spiritual sanctuary, or a vast climate-controlled granary. Its sheer scale defies belief, a network of cities capable of hiding a small nation beneath the earth, and its engineering, from the whispering galleries to the self-regulating air shafts, stands as a monument to a genius we can only partially comprehend. These are not separate mysteries, but intertwined threads of a single, magnificent enigma. The silent cities of Cappadocia remind us that history is not a simple record of facts, but a deep well of questions. If a civilization of such sophistication and scale could be so completely forgotten, hidden in plain sight for centuries, what other chapters of the human story are still waiting silently just beneath our feet? What do you believe was the true reason these people chose the dark? And what secrets do you think are still locked away in the deepest, unexplored chambers? Share your own theories below. The stone keeps its secrets, but our curiosity is the key that never rests.